We also need to talk about the history of light, because light has always been at the center, not only of physics, but of human history. The first human to kindle fire learned to control light, and this changed everything. Night was no longer just darkness. People gathered around the fire, talked, told stories, made art, drew handprints on cave walls, and this socializing developed language. Language developed thought, thought developed civilization. So the spark of civilization literally came from a spark. It came from light. In the Middle Ages, glass and optics studies flourished in the Islamic world of science. You may have heard of Ibn al-Haytham. This scientist, born in Basra in 965, proved in his work known as the Book of Optics that the eye does not send light to objects, but rather that light coming from objects reaches the eye. This was a revolutionary finding, because since ancient Greece it had been thought that the eye somehow emitted rays. Ibn al-Haytham disproved this. He opened a small hole in a dark room and observed that the image of the outside world projected onto the opposite wall, upside down. This was the camera obscura, the ancestor of photography and cinema. And the foundation of all modern optical science was laid in this experiment conducted by a Middle Eastern scientist 1,000 years ago. Newton took a prism and passed sunlight through a glass prism and saw that white light is actually the sum of all colors. He saw that red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, they all come together and separate from each other as they pass through the glass. Because each color has a different wavelength, and different wavelengths travel at different speeds inside glass, and that is why they separate. And a rainbow forms for exactly this reason. Raindrops act like tiny prisms. They refract sunlight and separate it into colors. When you see a rainbow, you are actually witnessing all the colors within light being displayed by water. This is the moment light tells its own story. And think about this. What is the color of light anyway? What is a wavelength? What we call color is the vibration frequency of the photon, and this frequency is interpreted as color in the brain. But for the rest of the universe, this interpretation does not exist. A cat also receives photons, but for the cat, that photon is neither red nor blue, because color is the brain's interpretation. There is no color in nature. In nature, there are only electromagnetic waves of different frequencies, and your brain converts these waves into color. So it is you who give color to this universe. Light's color is your brain's gift. And now we return to where we began. Let me also say this. Light has a very deep relationship with time. When you look at a star in the distance, you are not seeing that star as it is now. You are seeing it as it was years ago, perhaps hundreds, perhaps thousands of years ago, because it took that long for its light to reach you. So when you look up at the sky, you are actually looking back in time. The Andromeda Galaxy is currently the farthest object visible to the naked eye, and the light coming from it began its journey 2.5 million years ago. When that photon from Andromeda started its journey, Homo sapiens did not yet exist. Humanity's ancestor was making stone tools in Africa, and that photon traveled through space for 2.5 million years and just now fell on your pupil. This moment is the end for that photon. This moment is the doorway to the universe for you. That is what light is.